Today's students are masters in technology. They can manipulate language to create new forms of English in texts and emails, and they share divergent opinions on forums and blogs with the international community. But despite these advancements, some areas of curriculum development seem to be harking back to a bygone era. Let me bring you up to speed with curriculum development. Previously, GCSE English Language and English Literature have been compulsory subjects which all students at Key Stage 4 have studied. However, from September 2015, GCSE English Literature will be an optional subject which students will elect to study. This shift from English literature being a core subject to an elective extra is also coupled with a huge shake-up in the content of the national curriculum. From now on, students will have to study in depth 4 key areas: a 19th century novel, romantic poetry, a Shakespearean play, and a post-1914 British piece of prose or drama. The set reading list comprises of 79% male authors, 83% adult literature, 75% pre-20th century texts, and 100% of the texts are British. In this curriculum, there is a pronounced emphasis on classic British canonical literature to the detriment of other authors, playwrights, and poets. In defence of the new English Literature GCSE, the Department for Education has said that it is designed so that students have a chance to develop culturally, read classic literature, and appreciate the depth and power of the English literary heritage. It will prepare them for life in modern Britain. This emphasis on a curriculum which can transmit the culture of a society is detrimental, particularly as the majority of the core texts and the values they represent belong to a monoculture. Why should literature be predominantly middle class, white, male, British, and pre-21st century? Our students need to be equipped to be world citizens, and as such should be exposed to a diverse array of literature. Furthermore, the Department for Education states that studying GCSE English Literature should encourage the students to read widely for pleasure. This is the overall aim of the course, and yet how many students would read the core text for fun? There seems to be a discrepancy between the course's aim, its content, and the current decision-making. My proposal is that there needs to be a parity of esteem between classic and modern literature, between British and world literature, between male and female authors, and between adult and young adult literature. Why should English literature instigate a highbrow, lowbrow dichotomy? There needs to be a balance and breadth to the text students engage with. There are over 129 million published novels in the world, so why should we fixate on such a small canon? Furthermore, we should disband with the notion of teachers choosing and dictating the key text students need to study. Students should be given autonomy and responsibility over their learning so that the student body can democratically choose the text they study. This will open the door to discussion, negotiation, and decision-making. As a consequence, students would not only have a say in the what of learning, but also in the why of learning. Students will become active participants in their own learning, as they will have a voice in and ownership of the curriculum. Moreover, it will ensure that the texts we are teaching are relevant to the class. Literature only becomes meaningful and fulfilling when it is linked to the lives of learners and to the wider context of society. Enabling students to select class reading texts will allow for differentiation, and overall it will increase participation and engagement, as students will have a voice in their learning journey. This will encourage students to think for themselves, develop their reflection skills, and will ultimately empower our students. So why do we need a change in curriculum development? Between 2005 and 2012, the number of students taking GCSE English Literature dropped by 18%. This percentage is set to decrease further when the course becomes non-compulsory. Teachers and students need to be able to see the benefits of studying English literature. We need to debunk the claims that it is an elite subject. A memory test for living conditions and historical facts, and especially the myth that it is centred on a patriarchal white British cultural heritage. Instead, English literature should encourage students to read for pleasure, relate directly to students' lives, empower students by giving them a voice in their education, celebrate diversity, and present positive role models. After all, education is what remains when you have forgotten what you were taught.